This is a brief demonstration of the process that you can use to upload a batch of questions to a test in Blackboard Ultra. So before we go forward with this, it's important to note a few things about this feature. So this typically will require you to format your questions in Microsoft Excel according to the rules they have defined here on the Blackboard website. So you can create questions of these types: multiple choice, multiple answer, true, false, essay, matching, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, and numeric response. And these are the general guidelines for formatting this in the spreadsheet. It looks a little abstract here, but I'll show you what that could look like. Let me go to my Excel file. And here's an example where I've prepared 8 questions in each of the formats they recommended. So here's my multiple choice. The identifier has to go in the first column, followed by the question string in the second column. And then for multiple choice, I can list my answer and whether it is correct or incorrect, like so. For a multiple answer, you follow the same process as multiple choice, but you label it as MA for multiple answer. And then you just select multiple question or answers that are correct to indicate multiple correct answers. For true false, you put in TF as the answer type or the question type. In the question string, you put in the next column, and then the next column you put in the answer. In this case, it's false. For essay, you put in ESS as the question type. Then you put into the next column what your question is, and then you can leave the rest blank. You can always put in an answer, example answer, when you're working in Blackboard. For matching, you use the identifier MAT. Then you can put in the question string in the next column, and then you put in your answer in question pairs. So, okay, so here's my possible answer option, and then its matching component right after it. For fill in the blank, you can put in a string like this into the column. You can just use an underline as the blank. And then in the next column, you enter in what the correct answer is. For fill in the blank plus, this is where it gets just a little bit tricky. In the question string, you fill in the spots where the answers go with variables that are in brackets. So example here, King bracket A bracket refused to throw the one ring into bracket B bracket, right? So those are like my variable spots. And then in the columns that follow, I enter in the variable and then the value that's going to be the correct answer for the variable. Then to separate your answer options, you have to put in a blank column. All right, so here's the variable for that first part, that first answer, and then here's the variable for that second part of the answer. Okay, and then for numeric, the string you put in for the identifier is NUM. Then you type in the answer or the question string you want in the next column, and then the value in the next column. Okay, so once you have your questions prepared in the Excel sheet, go to File and then Save As. Go to where you want to save this computer, and right now it's a workbook. Change this to, let's see, I want text delimited. Text tab delimited is the file type, and then click Save, and then click Yes, and then you can exit out of this. Here's my example of a course in Blackboard, and let's say I want to create that test, and let's say I want to put that test in lesson 3. So I'm going to open up lesson 3, and inside here I'm going to click the plus button and then choose create, and then I will choose test, give this test a name, and then to add my questions to this test, I click the plus button, then choose upload questions from file, choose my file that I created earlier, click open, and it's going to process, and it looks like it was successful. So it added my questions into my test, and it seems like it's marking the answers correctly as I configured them. Alright. I do notice it did something a little funny with my fill in the multiple blanks where it omitted some spaces, and if you need to do that, if you need to adjust, you can just go in and adjust the spacing. There, that's nicer. And then I'm going to change my scoring options, allow partial credit. Yeah, so after you upload questions, always take a look to make sure that they're formatted the way you're expecting with the correct answer. You can make any adjustments if you need to. If you have an essay question, you can always go into the essay question and add an example response in the example response field, but right now I don't have anything there. And then you can also adjust your point values. Okay, so that's the process you can use to upload a question file that you create in Excel, saved as a tab delimited text file, into Blackboard.